Hello and welcome to the Temple of Tomes with your host, Indie Comics Jones. Today is April 14th, 2021. This is episode 270. The Vampire, the Masquerade, Winter's Teeth is the arc on this, okay? This is number 7. It's put out by Vault for $3.99. And this is a recommend, by the way. It's going to get the Indie Comics Jones good excavating seal of approval on this one. This will be a little bit of a short video. This is actually last week's book, and the new ones came out today. So I'll be getting those, hopefully start my reviews tonight on that. But just a quick overview of this. It's about a vampire clan in Minneapolis, St. Paul. There's been a coup of the leader, and they're trying to figure out, all the different factions are kind of fighting to see who will be the next prince of St. Paul. Or Minneapolis, excuse me. And then there was even talk of maybe them splitting off to separate fiefdoms. But there's also a backup story in here called the Anarch Tales. So you get a lot of information, a lot of content for the money for $3.99, about 30 pages. And we've got top-notch writers on this as well. So it all boils down to a pretty good book. Now, you can't just pick this one up and know what's going on. There's been so much that's happened in each one of these issues. But let's just go through and take a look who works on these. Okay, for the Winter's Teeth portion, that's the main story. We have Tim Seeley. The artist is Dev Malya Promniak, excuse me. The Arneg Tales was written by Teeny Howard and Blake Howard, and it's drawn by Nathan Gooden. Then all tales are colored by Addison Duke, and the letters are by And World. Okay, and I just want to mention too that Vampire the Masquerade, this is actually based on an RPG card game that seems fairly popular. It's been around for a couple decades, I believe. And in this, we follow the main character, Cecily, Bain, who's she's a vampire, but she's also kind of like an enforcer. She has no real alliance to anybody, but any major clan. But she's allowed to work outside because she is this kind of private detective, enforcer, kind of almost an assassin at times too. She's not in this issue too much at all, just kind of briefly at the beginning. But it's turning out this is to be a story of a lot of conspiracies and a lot of backstabbing, a lot of neck biting, obviously, and some good turns. The main thing is that happened here is Allie, who's kind of her friend, but's got her own agenda, has, instead of killing a vampire hunter, this 10-year-old boy, she's just bit off his ear and gave the ear as proof that he was killed, but actually he's still alive. Now, there's a lot of events that have taken place. It's just too much to really go into, but it is a phenomenal, I think it's a really good comic, especially if you like vampire tales and just the occult, things like that, or just want a different kind of story. Now, if you are new to the whole vampire scene, you might have to get a dictionary out to look up some of these terms, or Wikipedia. Just take a look to see what they kind of mean. I know I struggled through the first issue a lot, needing to look things up, but it was fine after that. I've really just been enjoying the flow, and the characters are all very different. I'd also like to say that in the book here, let's see if we can get a good, this is a pretty good scene here. A lot of it has this dark look to it, as you can see here. Dark colors. But in this, we got it snowing. It's winter. It's Minneapolis. It's cold. And we got the snow. Just kind of breaks up the darkness. I've seen a lot of muddy things, like the Witcher was very muddy, and I'm trying to think of what else that I looked at recently. No, I can't think what off the top of my head came to mind. But some of the comics were very dark, hard to tell. Oh, Chasing the Dragon, for instance, that was very dark, very hard to distinguish characters. But with the snow, kind of breaks it up a little. It kind of makes it a little bit more atmospheric and not just dark panels. So I will continue with this. The best way to consume this is probably through the trade, because when I get the newest issue, I always have to go back and look things up. And let's take a look right here. There's the trade that's available. It has that's the picture of the first cover of number 1 there, and the next issue will look something like this. All right, and then we get a short blurb, kind of what happens or is what's going to happen in this issue. And what's back here is kind of described, or how should I say it? It's you get the solution to what they're saying here. So if you want to freeze that, you can take a look to see if that's. If you're not familiar with the characters, it probably won't make too much sense. Also included in here is if you are playing the RPG game, we do get the character sheets here as well. So there you go. Like I said, this is a recommend. I'm giving it the Indiana Jones Good Excavating seal of approval. Only on this channel will you see this mark of excellence for readers out there. And like I said, it is very bloody, very gory, very intense. But if you are into vampires and just supernatural things, you might really love this comic. I've been enjoying it all along. So thank you for stopping by the Temple of Tomes. Just real quick, just to show you what we accomplished last week with the last week's comics. We did all these comics: King in Black 5, this one here, Swamp Thing 2, Geiger 1, Noctura 2, God of War, Fallen God 2, the Sumerians new one, The Iron Shadows in the Moon 1, James Bond, Agent of Spectre 002, Chasing the Dragon 2, Deep Beyond 2 and 3, Nottingham 2, Shinokaji, Shadow of Death 3, that ended that arc, and Engine Ward number 9. So we've accomplished a lot this last week. So I hope to see you this week. I'm taking next week off most likely. So please, I'll try to put up as many as I can for this week as well, so you have little things to go back to. So thank you for stopping by. As always, leave comments, please subscribe if you haven't, and we'll see you next time at the Temple of Tomes. This is Indie Comics Jones bidding you adieu.